Sometimes, it's the wrong turn on the open road. Other times, it's saying yes when you feel like saying no. This time, it was an unexpected and unplanned outing. A simple break from the monotony of work. To clear our minds. To breathe the fresh air. But what we found was beyond anything we could imagine.
Wow, they're cold. We ended up in a little archaeological site, which means really one pyramid. Initial construction of the structure may have begun as early as the Middle Preclassic period, 600, 400 before Common Era. What do you think? You're on top of another pyramid. During the colonial period, Tacabo's church extended across the entire block. Ah, it was touching the ruins in the back. Wow. It is believed that the church of Tacabo may have been burned as part of the caste wall violence or earlier related uprisings. During the colonial period, people constructing the church used many of the carefully carved stone from this nearby building. Look at that. It's one of the most beautiful ruins we've seen, although it's made with ancient Mayan stones, but it's quite incredible.
We marveled at the ruins for upward of an hour, taking in the strange juxtaposition of history. Another Catholic church, built with the sacred stone of an ancient Mayan site. This is sadly all too common in southern Mexico. As we walked about town, we observed the procession in progress before a curious local boy came by to gift us a history lesson.
Eso es un cerro.
Es un cerro, pero ¿fue una pirámide antes?
No,
No.
se dice cerro.
Se dice cerro, ok.
Tiene un ciclón fuerte. Y empezó a tirar. Y tiró todo esto. Y abandonaron esto. Eso dicen que está embrujado.
¿Y cuántos años tienes?
7.
7. ¿Y cómo te llamas?
Alan Jesús Rosado Delgado Loría.
¿El primer nombre qué es?
Alan.
¿Alan? Yo soy
Alan.
Genoveva. Con gusto, Alan.
Soy Glenn. Alan and his brother ended up guiding us to some of the local places.
¿Y a dónde son los tres otros? Wow, it is super deep.
This abandoned well used to supply the community with drinking water. And this cave, home to a jaguar, or simply a place that swallows children, depending on the story you've been told.
The kids say it's dangerous.
And finally, Cenote de Tacabo, a large, open-fronted cave system in the middle of town.
And we found a cenote, actually a really interesting cave. The water is really clean and covered with some dirt in some parts, but it's quite an impressive place. ¿Este dos?
De los dos yo.
De los dos.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow!
Oh, you're welcome.
When we parted ways with the boys, we saw an elderly couple collecting fruits in an open lot next to the ruins. Buenas tardes.
Yo soy Genoveva.
Esto yo.
Sí? Gracias.
Nada, esto yo.
Gracias. ¿Vives aquí?
Sí, ahí está mi casa.
Wow. They invited us to come see their home and enjoy some fresh Annona fruit.
He's scared of them. ¿Y dónde se encuentran los dos?
Aquí en este pueblo de
En este pueblo, la vida aquí es tranquilo, ¿no?
Sí.
Esta es mi abuelita.
¿Es tu abuelita?
Esta no es. Y hoy es 77.
¿Y ella 78? ¿Y es tu abuelita?
Emiliana and Elviro were so full of life and humor. As we would later find out, they were actually in their mid-80s, but commonly get lost in the numbers as they age. In front of their humble home, we shared stories for a couple hours and learned about their life in the small village of Tacabo. Both prefer the quietness of small-town life, rather than the stress of larger cities.
He stopped drinking completely.
Wow.
Yeah, and they never insult each other.
They consider themselves happy with each other and with the life they have built together.
When Ervio realized that we had already seen all of the caves and cenotes in town, he made mention of a cave system on his ranch and offered to show it to us. Our new friend left for a short time and returned with news that his son and family would arrive soon to escort us to the family ranch, about a mile down the road.
Elviro's son, Edgar, soon arrived with his wife and daughter, Gabriela and Melissa. It was clear from the moment we met this family. There was something special. The unity, the raw sincerity, the kindness to each other, and to us, two complete strangers with their dog.
As Edgar prepared for our safe entrance to this sacred place, I couldn't help but picture Plato's allegory of the cave. A group of people live their lives chained inside a cave, facing a blank wall. Day after day, they observe the dance of shadows cast on the stone canvas. Objects passing before a fire. They give names to these shadows, which form the basis of their reality, building stories and identities upon them.
Aquí venía a buscar agua con botellones y los sacaba. Yo era un niño pequeño.
When his dad was cultivating the watermelon, they were coming to pick up water, to fetch water here.
Venía la gente a buscar agua en jarrones. Sí, a todo harina.
Ah, wow.
Then one day, a man breaks free from his chains and escapes from the cave. In awe, he witnesses the realities of the world above in all of its sunlit glory. He later returns to the cave to share his experience and free his fellow captives. But the shackled do not believe, for their reality is shaped by the illusion of shadows. They deny the truth. Believing only in the spectacle they behold, they refuse to leave. Time and time again, we live this allegory. As consumers of news, we are presented with narratives of hostility, malice, mistrust, and fear of the other.
Como hacer eso también desde joven, porque si te vas en una cueva también lo haces. Wow.
Nadie que va a checar el pasillo de antes, ando así, pero
We choose to believe in the kindness of people, in this delicate fabric of life.
Viene pedazos de
cera.
y así lo agarran, lo comes y viene unas larvitas. Está riquísimo.
¿Verdad?
Sí, no tengo mi niñera aquí, sino.
No estoy entrando.
No, lo que pasa está muy espeso. Sí. Y cuando estemos cosechando,
This day found its perfect closure. Edgar and Gabi sent us on our way with a jar of honey from their rancho. This was only goodbye for now, as we promised to stay in touch and return soon.
By the next morning, we were back to work on our podcasts and narrations for upcoming films.
I'm editing the final edition of the transcript, in order to put it in the into subtitles. So I'm taking off some filler words right now.
We'd already stayed a few months in this region of Yucatan, mostly settling down to work from our cabana in Tizimín, with only the occasional outing.
This was the very thing that brought us to meet this family, the need to take a break from work. By this time, Glenn was burning out from editing so much footage. But I was riding a wave of creativity, immersed in new technologies, to the point of exhaustion.
We both knew we wouldn't last long, though, so we decided to finally leave Yucatan for the state of Oaxaca to experience nature without technology, just mountains and forests. And just like that, our time in Tizimin was up, so we packed up for our final goodbyes. And of course, this meant another visit to our new friends in Tacabo.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Con gusto. Muchas gracias. I'm very tired and I'm happy that we were offered to stay. And I'm happy to have this experience, although I do realize that I forgot to tell my daughter that I was going off-grid.
What was supposed to be a quick visit, to bring photos and share a meal, turned into an all-day event. It was really quite something, living a day in the life of this family. To feel like there wasn't a show put on for two foreigners, but a mutual bond of authenticity.
Tacabo is such a peaceful and charming town, so fitting for such a charming family. It is home to about 500 people, and the town has been continuously inhabited for more than 2,500 years.
As we prepare for our homestay, we get some tips on the proper way to sleep in a Mayan home.
Si la albahaca está pequeño, también le ponemos en el otro. Hay varias formas de amarrarlo, como ver.
In much of Central America, it is customary to not only nap in a hammock, but it fully takes the place of a traditional mattress.
¿No es todo demasiado pequeño?
Pues nos acomodamos.
Almost every home has anchors in the walls to support hammocks. They are light, affordable, comfortable, and can be taken down during the day to free more space in small homes.
Descansa bien.
Most Mayan families rise before the sun to get an early start on the day, ahead of the blazing heat. Summer days in Yucatan can easily reach 100 degrees Fahrenheit. While Genevieve was enjoying the comfortable cocoon of the hammock, Edgar was already at the ranch, and Gabby was diligently making breakfast. So I decided to follow Moses and Jacob around as they did their morning chores, taking care of the animals. I was curious about why some chickens were caged and others roamed free, so the boys put on a quick show without explanation. I'd seen this many times in Latin America and Puerto Rico, where it is part of the culture to breed and fight roosters. But with this family, it is not a welcomed spectacle, as part of their livelihood depends on having a consistent supply of chickens to eat or sell. Jacob explained that he once had an army of turtles in the backyard, but they all escaped. This one was a new addition. When the chores and showing were done, Jacob left to check the status of school for the day, which since COVID was sporadic at best.
Buenos días. Hola, Mini. Wow, this is amazing, this hammock. They have it, huh? In Mexican. That's really weird. Oh, I dreamed. There was a part of it that was like sort of very modern but rough. And we discovered that we hadn't realized that there was a pool like right there under a porch.
Meanwhile, I was still enjoying the hammock life and taking my time with the morning. Our plan was to leave in the morning towards Oaxaca and camp on the beach along the way. But I found out the night before that the kids had never seen the ocean.
See? Yeah? Okay.
When Jacob returned saying that school was cancelled, we offered to take the family on a little adventure. The northern beaches are less than 2 hours' drive from their home, but time, money, and reliable transportation have been prohibitive for this amazing family. When the turquoise waters of the Yucatan called out to us, our hearts found joy in the simplest of pleasures. The joy of our new friends became the true treasure of the day. Their laughter resonated with the sound of the waves. It was not about luxury or leisure. It was about experiencing something for the first time, sharing joy and creating bonds that till friendship. Our friends' awe at the sea was pure, unfiltered. There was an overwhelming positivity we felt in their company. The humble existence that kept them from such a pleasure had in turn blessed us with the opportunity to share this experience with them.
Esa es mi forma de ser hasta ahorita, sí, es lo que me gusta. Y mi papá allí trabajaba. Desde pequeño creo que como mi hijo. Íbamos allí con mi papá caminando y él me mostró esa cueva. Y allí sembraba semilla de sandía, de todo. Y en la cueva entraba a buscar agua. Me gusta el monte, me gusta el campo. Había unos árboles pequeños que conozco, que nosotros aquí le decimos pitch. Y crecen gigantes, pero no me gusta que corten esos árboles. Y lo fui cuidando. Ahorita se ve muy hermoso. Si otra gente se acerca, quiero hacer mi milfa aquí, yo le digo no, porque los árboles lo van a quemar. Lo voy no con tanto la intención de matarlo, porque en mi mente está, pues es una naturaleza también. Buscan comida, salgo a trabajar en el campo, me gustan los animales. En la parcela, aquí como lo tenemos, tengo muchos árboles que en otros lugares ya no existen.
Wow.
Ya no existen. Y yo los voy cuidando, los voy conservando. Nos han ido a visitar y dice, estas plantas ya no existen. Cuando antes sí había, abundaba. Y mi pensamiento es conservar estos árboles que son de no sé qué tiempo. Son los únicos que tengo yo ahí.
Dos. Y aquí, eso y hace como collage se llama, de las dos veces. Sí, pero nos quedamos en contacto. Estamos tristes porque hay amor, algo creció y ahorita tenemos más amigos, más familia. Adiós todos, bye.
We left this incredible family, unsure if our path would cross again. Our compass was pointing towards Oaxaca, thinking this would be our last full day in Yucatan. Yet, the journey had other plans. Synchronicities began to weave their magic.
We actually left Cacabo without knowing where we would stay, and then I randomly called this person for the Jardines of Ishel, and the woman on the phone tells me when I'm speaking in Spanish, she said, "Oh, hablas francés? You speak French?" I was like, yes. And she told us about the accommodation that she had. So I thought we were going to pitch our hammock And it turns out that when we arrived here, it's actually a tent in the trees. And then we discovered that there is a very nice pool, and we had dinner with Mario and Kathy. So it was a great evening overall. That's it for today, for now.
It is amazing. So far, it's really outstanding. I mean, we're so blessed, you know? Like, we found this thinking that we would have to build the tent under the tree, and then we are actually in a tent in the tree. And that's quite amazing. We're in a tree house. We're in a tree tent. We instantly fell in love with the place. Nestled just outside the Pueblo Mágico of Espita, the Gardens Official were only 45 minutes down the road from our Tacabo family. The universe had spoken, and we listened, settling into the embrace of our new friend Kathy and the Gardens Official. It was a gentle reminder that destiny has its own pace, and that the path towards healing sometimes finds us when we least expect it. I got Anona juice. This is amazing. Es muy bueno. The value placed on family holds a special place among Mexico's varied traditions and the Mayan culture within them. Our understanding of this deep connection grew when we met Gabby's niece, Rosario, and her children. They showed us around their property, and we delighted in sampling all the fruits from their land.
Inside the seed. Wow.
Rosario and her husband cultivate the land to sell fruits and vegetables at the local market in Tizimin, the same market where we would buy onions, tomatoes, and avocados for our salad. In Mexico, it is not at all uncommon to have land that has been in the family for hundreds of years. Rosario took us to one such parcel, where they were raising cattle just a week before.
Ya demandó mi suegro, pero nada. Es que el señor tiene más dinero. Pagó dinero a los estatales y nada.
Their land was burned, and the cattle was stolen. 50 animals. They were young cattle, and they had not marked them. But they burned the land to take the animals.
Se baja el mango, la guanábana, la ciruela, todo se vende.
Yeah, she said they had like tons of fruits selling in the market, and it all burned. It all burned.
Vamos ahí donde están los guanos.
We've been invited to discover this land, another rancho. It's incredible. And those ancient Mayan stone that were used as grinders. And right here, the well. Wow, it's incredible. Woo! It's muy profundo, huh? The water itself down there is apparently very, very deep, and it's a vein of subterranean rivers that connect cave to cave and to cenote basin of water. It's quite incredible. So they have pure fresh water right there on the land, and the land itself is just incredible. Our father-in-law is 87, and when he acquired the land, there was already the well. So she had no idea how old the well is. They were asked to sell a few times, and they didn't. And they don't want it to be developed or anything. They just like it as it is.
Located only 12 miles south of Tacabo, where our family lives, is the ancient Mayan city of Ekbalam, or Black Jaguar in Yucatec Mayan.
It's a very hot day. I have no idea what it's gonna unfold like, really.
This site was founded around 100 BCE and quickly became the capital city of the region, growing to encompass 10 square miles and home to about 20,000 people at its height in 800 CE.
It was a powerful center of trade for cacao, honey, and cotton. By 900 CE, though, Ekbalam lived in the shadow of the new giant city-states of Tikal, Calakmul, and nearby Chichen Itza, until its population dwindled and the site was completely abandoned. When the Spanish arrived in the 1500s, Ekbalam was just a mound of stones hidden beneath the jungle canopy. Today, Ekbalam is notable for its well-preserved plaster sculptures, murals, and ceramic pottery, all of which provide a trove of historical documentation about other ancient cities of the Mayan world.
I think it's nice. What we saw of the stucco is one of the most beautiful we've seen. I think it compares to the Jaguar Pyramid in Belize, but they have not been restored the same way. Aside from it being like all white, renovated, I suppose. How small the details. It's really impressive. Yeah, it's quite something, no? It's magical.
When researching for this narration, we found it interesting that almost all Mayan sites of a similar size to Ekbalam were abandoned at some point, while some small villages like Takabo have been continuously inhabited until the present day. It is very possible that ancestors of our Takabo family worshipped or made pilgrimages to this very site.
These of the Jaguar are quite impressive, huh?
We had already experienced the glory of Chichen Itza, Mexico's premier Mayan site, and we'd left unimpressed. There was little access to the ruins for their protection from overwhelming numbers of tourists, and we were confined to admiring them from a safe distance. Ekbalam, although expensive, was much quieter and allowed us to ascend the structures, walk the halls, enter the dark chambers, touch the stones, and have face-to-face interactions with the sculptures. As we walked the stone paths and steps as modern-day pilgrims, it gave us a greater sense of what life was like for these ancient people.
In the heartland of Yucatan, 2 seasons dance through the days, wet and dry. 10 weeks, a mere heartbeat, flew by like whispers in the wind. An enchanting realm where we watched our surroundings saturate and bloom. So too did our relationships blossom, mirroring nature's exquisite design.
Waking to chatty parrots and the songs of trees dancing in the wind, we embraced a pool filled with fresh cenote water. Kathy's warmth and gratitude opened the doors to creativity, binding dreams of past and future into a shared vision. Our Takabo family was never far, with their enthusiasm and polite embrace of art and life. In these peaceful surroundings, a shift in consciousness occurred, mirrored by the vibrant personalities of the dogs around us. From Ora, the noble white shepherd, to Yuka, the blind wanderer, each told a tale of adaptation, teaching lessons of courage and tenderness. Kathy's healing touch, with natural treatments and rituals for Ora, resonated with our own reflections on life. Her grace and freedom infused our day with boundless creativity and buzzing ideas. And then, one full moon's night, a tiny life appeared.
Yeah, Nelly found it, and it was in the table. He fell on the table outside. He's been abandoned on the table.
A baby rodent of rich orange fur, a delicate miracle to love and nurture, a week of tender care, feeding and warming this fragile being, forged a bond that transcended our fear of letting go.
I had it in mind that this was a possibility, that I would be ready. cook shed.
But in the heart of the Yucatan, we found a sanctuary, a place where we were invited to stay as long as we wished, where we truly lived, loved, and learned to be. Through tears and laughter, pulse and palapas, Espita and Tacabo's tale was woven. A catalyst for our shared journey's most profound changes. An ode to life and nature. To letting go and embracing the essence of now. The world outside our tent and within our hearts.
Everybody's getting ready. It's our day. Es nuestro día a la piscina y el de arte. ¿Están listos? Sí. Okay, nos vamos. This opportunity to bring the family, it's been an amazing one. I'm so happy they are here. And the kids are really enjoying the fall, and now it's art time. We're about to start the workshop.
Para crear algo muy bonito. Se va a componer animal, el agua, un árbol. ¿Qué quieren ustedes?
We were so grateful to our new friend Kathy for holding this art workshop for the local community.
We met the most adorable family of Tacabo and of the region, I think.
These classes are designed to work as a form of therapy and creative expression.
Llenar de cosas como esto, intercambios, suavidad, va a cambiar toda tu vida. Es un tiempo que viene ahora en tu vida de recibir también la fruta de tu cosecha. No hay 10,000 planes. Ya, esto es lo que tu paisaje que te gusta.
Porque ellos aman la naturaleza y principalmente quiero que las tortugas ellos van a tener en casa. Muy emocionante, me siento así en paz, libre, me siento emocionada, la verdad, encontrarme aquí con todos.
Y me siento muy bien porque andamos un poquito estresados en el trabajo y hoy me sentí muy bien, en paz. No estoy pensando en otra cosa más que disfrutar el momento.
It was such a sight for us to see everyone relaxing to the day, participating to their heart's content, enjoying every moment as it unfolded.
Zil quickly adapted to life in Yucatan, becoming a part of the Ixchel dog pack and a welcomed figure in Tacabo. But with so many bowls to eat from and a consistent supply of tortillas, he began to gain weight. The jungle heat and the rocky nature of the peninsula made it very difficult for him to exercise. It was one of those things that Genevieve and I didn't even notice until our Tacabo family started calling him Buen Gordito. We actually don't know the exact age of Zil. I adopted him in 2016 in Washington State at an unknown age. So he's somewhere around the age of 10 now. He's been with me almost everywhere, as a family member, friend, and service animal.
Wow, you look like an adventure dog. Look at that smoke.
In Espita, Kathy introduced us to Dr. Abraham, an amazing veterinarian who has been looking after Aura for the past few years.
Ça va bien. Elle mange bien? Super bien, because it's tumor cancer. She's not bad at all.
Sí. Era el peor.
It was now Zil's turn to have a checkup, get his nails trimmed, get an anti-parasite, and figure out a diet plan. On our first visit, he weighed a whopping 50 pounds. That's a 1/3 increase of his ideal body weight of 36 pounds. Later, we would see Dr. Abraham and his wife Angelica for Zil's vaccines, a much-needed teeth cleaning, and paperwork to see us through our upcoming travels. We considered ourselves blessed to be surrounded by such amazing people that held such care for animals and nature.
A ustedes, un gusto.
It is not an exaggeration to say that this time frame of our journey sparked tremendous growth in both Glenn and I. Perhaps the most transformative changes of the past 2 years on the road unfolded in Yucatan. We found a piece of ourselves we did not even know was missing. Our days were filled not with grand endeavors, but with the gentle resonance of the life's simplest pleasures. Each moment became a celebration of life's intricate tapestry. Every meal was a celebration, every moment a precious connection to one another, to nature. Sublime moments when reality transcends what any lens could capture. Glenn, who often treats his camera as an extension of himself, consciously and consistently set it aside. These camera-lost moments became an indelible part of our story, not captured in pixels of film, but forever imprinted upon our memories and hearts. For this time, we weren't filmmakers, documentarians, or even outsiders. We were simply human beings sharing in the raw beauty of life. A reminder that sometimes the most profound connections and lessons come when we step away from the roles we have assumed and instead engage with the world as our most authentic selves. We were participants in the dance of life that no lens or keyboard could ever truly capture. It was as if the universe whispered to us that our most authentic tales don't always need a frame. They just need us to be fully and deeply present.
Got it, go, huh?
Before we knew it, our Mexican visas were set to expire. What was only supposed to be a few weeks in Mexico had turned into 6 months. And we were now leaving a family that felt like our own. It may be a long time before we see them again. It's taken 2 years to make it from California to Guatemala, and we won't be heading north again for a very long time.
¡Wow! Puede cantar, ¿no? So, where are we going right now?
Right now, we're headed in the general direction of Belize.
And how do you feel?
I feel good. I feel excited that something new is coming about, but there is a sadness too. Just left our Tacabo family. Like if you hit it off in the beginning and you have your first impressions of who people are, that usually changes over time, and you get to see these cracks in the facade. But I haven't noticed that with this family. They just seem very genuine. They don't need to put on a show of being happy or being sad. They just are what they are. There's no sense of like needing to be something or do something. They're just as amazing now as they were the first day we met them. And that's a very rare thing. That brings it to sadness.
Well, thank you for sharing.
We bid farewell to Yucatan, hearts filled with gratitude. But on our way out of Mexico, a visit to the Sacagua cenote brought unexpected feelings.
What do you think?
And I don't know, did you want to hear what I think? For me, it's not the happiest of experience. I think it's gorgeous, it's quite impressive. It's like none of the cenotes we've seen, no? And it's so altered, so flexed to what they thought people want to see. Kept clean and moving the water enough to make sure that it doesn't look with little white thing. And I went into sort of reflective time from the past when I was in Israel, and this whole journey began basically like sort of felt the pain of how much we alter the world and change the world, nature. You know, yesterday I stayed in a Cancun at some point when there was no one. I finally stayed for like, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes in the cenote alone, and I saw all the animals coming back to it. The motmots were flying at the same time as the swallows and at the same time as the bats, and I was like, wow, this is their world also. So there is this feeling of like, where is their silence? Where is the silence? How many more miles and kilometers will I run to find the silence of nature? So that's my reflection.
For me, this journey started with nature and a need to find myself as a vital part of it. There was a longing deep within my soul, whispered through my very being and calling me to connect with the heartbeat of the earth, to the landscapes where the cycle of life unfolds in its most primal form. I never thought that 2 years down the road, I would find myself connecting so much with people, finding human connections that would be as profound and moving as those I sought with nature itself. In the flatlands of the Yucatan Peninsula, where mountains do not rain but lush jungles breathe, rivers flow underground, and cenotes hide their mystical beauty, I discovered a connection that transcends the physical world. Perhaps it was the connection with people who are so closely intertwined with nature that bridged this gap. Edgar and Gabi, for example, they speak of nature not just with words, but with a living reverence, a love that flows through their veins. Their respect for the land, the way they embrace it as a provider, a teacher, a friend, reflects an understanding that goes beyond the superficial. They taught me that to love nature is to observe it not from a distance, but as a part of it. The ways in which we nurture, respect, and honor the earth are the same ways we cultivate love, understanding, and compassion for one another. It was a lesson in humility, a lesson in love, and a lesson in life itself. In the simplicity of their connection to the earth, I found wisdom, healing, and a gentle reminder that we are all part of this magnificent dance of life. This family didn't just exist, they thrived, never seeming to take a single moment for granted, embracing any scenario without judgment. Perhaps it's their humbleness and humility, or a life lived in harmony with nature and each other. But their story was a living testimony that true richness lies not in material abundance, but in the abundance of spirit. This family's echo will always be a cherished melody, guiding us as we venture into the new landscapes of life.
Thank you so much for making it to the end of this film. We sincerely hope it found you at the right time.
This is our first complete film under our new name of Colors of Awakening. It reflects a large change that is happening, not just in us and the journey itself, but in the way we communicate what's happening within.
We've gotten clearer with ourselves about what we want to bring forward in our podcasts and films. We want everything we do to reflect the immense changes that are happening within.
Because first and foremost, this is a healing journey. In this film, we only touch briefly on our time in Espita. But there, we experience without a shadow of a doubt the most profound growth of this entire journey.
Espita will be its own full-length film about healing, alternative medicines and therapies, and of course, our personal connections and encounters with people and nature.
You will spend more time with Cathy, a healer and fellow French expat, as we spend a few months at the magical gardens of Ischel.
During this time frame, there were a few things happening simultaneously, and there will be a total of 5 films to accompany the one you just watched. In Tizimin, we had a comfortable home base to explore the northern parts of the Yucatan Peninsula while working on our podcasts and films.
In that episode, you will meet some of the locals and witness their unique passions.
Tranquilo, contento.
Take some day trips to explore the region's Mayan sites and local treasures. And celebrate with us 2 years of reflection and growth.
2 years on the road.
2 years on the road. It's like 2 years ago, I took a jump that changed my life completely.
In Kikil, you will get to explore the small community of about 200 people built around the gorgeous green cenote. Meet a local artist as he navigates a life between passion and personal responsibilities. Hear the profound stories of a community leader as he shows us the treasures of the land. And stay the night alone in an abandoned convent.
The door opened by itself. Are you scared?
This is actually the easy part, showing the incredible experiences that we have on the road. The hard part is communicating what's deeper.
What can we learn from these experiences, from these encounters? What baggage did we walk in with? And what tools and lessons did we walk out with?
We want what we create to have meaning. Whether it's a simple conversational podcast or a trip to an exotic location, there is always something more profound to be discovered.
So we invite you to join us on this journey. Learn and grow with us. And explore with us what it means to be human.
Until next time,
have a colorful awakening. That's good.